Hey everybody out there, this is Sam Denny. This is Halfass Presents the podcast. Today we're having Joseph Blevins back on the episode or back on the podcast for part two or round two. We're going to hear a little bit more about his 3D printing and what he's doing with that, and probably see some more of his amazing structures, buildings that he's scratch building, which are just awesome. They're some of the greatest stuff, for modern building style buildings out there. So yeah, I'm just rambling on. Joseph Blevins, that's who's on this episode. I hope you like it, and stay tuned. All right, looks like it's recording. Let me just make sure it's recording. It is recording. Good. Hey, everybody out there. This is Sam Dennehy, aka Halfass Customs, and this is Halfass Presents the podcast. Today's special guest, a recurring guest, thank you, Joseph Blevins. I'll have a link for his first video or first interview in the description below, so if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But it was awfully nice of him to come back, and let's see what he's doing now. Joseph, what's up, man?
Hello, everybody. How's it going in the 187 world there? I'm still surviving, doing projects here, projects there, keeping busy with a little bit of this, a little bit of that, everything else.
You know what I didn't do on your first video, and we even talked about it, I think, vaguely, but you make those custom one-off, I wouldn't even say one-off, you make custom buildings, modern buildings that you don't really see on the market. And you did, I think, unless it was on the live podcast, but you did say that you sell them on eBay, and I never asked you what your eBay link was or your eBay store. I'd like to put that up if you wanted me to, if you thought that might be a good idea, maybe help you sell some stuff whenever you have stuff for sale.
Sure, I can share it with you, and you can include it in the video. Cool.
Yeah, I'll put that for all that's listening and watching. I'll put that in the description below, so you can check that out, because he has got some really cool stuff, some one-off stuff that you just don't see at any toy company or train hobby market anywhere. He has it, or he makes it, and that's pretty cool stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I try to do just playing around.
Well, your playing around is really pretty good.
Right. I've turned out to be pretty good. It started off a little rough, I think, but it's turned out.
We all start rough.
As my skills have gotten better.
Well, you have an eye for detail, and when I say detail for the modern look, which I don't know that a lot of us have. I mean, like, I build hot rods and customs that are made for the modern day today, but
right.
I use it off of old vehicles, so you're taking something that isn't old, you're just taking something that's new and building it brand new again and making it look like it's like a shrunken down real version of it. And it's so neat. It's really, really neat, because you just don't really see it.
Right. What I do, it mostly interests me. So the modern day stuff, I don't really care about the 1800s time frame or the 50s and all that stuff. I want to relate to what I know is modern day stuff. Is why I got into
modern day back then.
Yeah, it was for somebody. It wasn't for me.
That's funny you say that, because I like the steam era of trains. I never want to build a steam era layout though. But being that I got that, you can't really see it, but back there I got that clock tower from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Now I want to build all three versions of Hill Valley, like the 1880 or the 1885 one, and then the 1985 one, and the 2015 version. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that building was pretty cool. I saw it when you posted it.
Yeah, I found out they make more stuff too. They make a Wayne Manor from Batman, Bruce
Oh,
Wayne.
okay.
They
Yeah.
make his house in HO scale. I mean, it's
Oh,
cartoon HO scale, so it's not like
sure.
perfect. But I was thinking, buy that building or that house, and then build a diorama that's maybe like a foot tall, and have the Bat Cave underneath it. So maybe like a foot by foot,
Right.
square, and then have the Bat Cave underneath it, because I have the Batman cars and the Batwing and all that other stuff that I've been getting from Hot Wheels. So I was thinking, how neat would that be just to do like a foot by foot square diorama of that?
Sure. Did
They also,
did I
oh,
send you a Batmobile car 3D printed or no?
you did a really
Okay.
rough version.
Yeah, that was like in my very beginning as a 3D printer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I knew that. Yeah, but yeah, it's sitting somewhere.
sure. Yeah, it was pretty rough finish wise or whatever, but
I mean, you knew what it was by looking at it, though. Like, you could look at it and go, "Oh, that's the Batman car. That's cool."
right.
But yeah,
Put it under some trees or make it a barn
right.
find.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
then they
think that
also
was
make
from
them,
the '89 movie, right? The original,
yeah,
or
or a Hot Wheels version of the '89 movie vehicle car, because
yeah,
those wheel wells it had were huge to fit like Hot Wheels size wheels in it.
could be. Yeah,
But
I didn't know how to scale it either because there's no measurements out there for
right,
that
I mean,
guy. Yeah,
it was still cool that you printed it though. So hey,
yeah.
and then that same company makes a haunted mansion from Disneyland. I don't
Mhm.
know that I want that one, because what would you build for that? Like a whole entire building behind it to put a ride in behind it for? It'd just be kind of
Right.
dumb.
You already got two pretty cool mansions there on your
Yeah,
diorama. Yeah.
yeah, I do. Thanks.
You don't need a
Yeah,
toy
there's
one.
right. I mean, it would be neat if it was so iconic looking that you knew what it was just by seeing it, but unless the name is underneath it or surrounding it somehow, it just looks like an old Victorian style house.
House. Yeah.
So you don't really know what it is. I think they make one other thing, but I don't know what it is, and I don't really care because I don't remember what it is.
Right.
But yeah. What are you building as of late?
Well, we got we had a conversation a little while ago where I make the cars and you will low rideify them for
Yeah,
me. So I got that going. I got some, and I don't know the year off the top of my head. I think it was a '64 Impala. Let me get it.
it is.
Yeah. So I have about 8 of those printed.
Nice.
And then I had to design. Let me put my camera on for them. I designed a chassis or interior for them because they all come with the files I'm buying anyway. So I just made a really generic interior that can be painted up or whatever.
That's cool. I like that. That body that you bought, they only seem to design the SS version of that, which is the same body, it's just different trim. And
Sure.
every toy company and every model car and everything that is ever done for a 64 Impala seems to be for that super sport model. And I guarantee that mold that file that you bought is designed off of that same platform. So the seats that you did for that are the super sport seats, because super sports only came with the bucket seats. Every other model came with a bench seat. So I like how you probably didn't know that, but now you know. You did
I
it right.
generically added those seats actually.
No, yeah, I
know
know, but that's
what
what
they
I
came
mean.
from, but
Like you did the seats right, because that's most likely the body that you got is a SS body. So the seats are right for it. Good job.
So I also been playing with pre-adding the suspension to them. So this one here, let me make the camera turn, I guess. So this one here already is
We call that hidden
flexed or
three-wheel.
whatever. Yeah. So I've been playing with the suspension in different modes, like all the way up, all the way down.
So you
front
have it
up or
actually
front down.
adjustable, or you're
No,
making different versions with different stances?
Yeah, I'm making the chassis. It's stationary, but I'm making them in different.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so since I printed so many cars, you can have one all the way down, one three-wheeled or whatever. One with the front up, one with the front down, the back up, whatever.
That's
But
awesome.
then I also printed this evening some 72 Monte Carlo. And this is fresh off the printer. So it prints upside down like this, and it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it gets cured by some light in a liquid resin.
Some magic. That's how it
Yeah.
gets cured. I know
So,
my
and then
bud would love to have one of those or two.
these supports just I can break them off with my finger, and then the car's
Right.
ready after that.
Well, the cool thing is
little bit of
your
cleanup.
supports, yeah, the supports are thin, like super thin, but super strong enough to make that mold, work.
Right.
That's neat.
But these, you could see a little bit of layer lines or whatever, but it's not bad. But once you paint it and whatnot, the layer lines will be gone. It's not like the original Shapeways stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so now the car's basically ready. So I'm gonna make a chassis for this one too. I'm hoping that they will be interchangeable to a point. Don't look like it. It's too big. But
just narrow it down and probably cut the back end off or front end off or something.
Right. So I'm gonna try to make a chassis for these guys too. So
right on.
I got another car coming tomorrow. It's going to be a mid-90s Lincoln Town Car for a lowrider too. Trying to spread the love a little bit between the generations, between the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's cool.
I really wanted a Cadillac Coupe de Ville or whatever, but I haven't been able to find a good file for that one yet.
Oh, that sucks. You know who has a good file? I can tell you exactly who has a good file. He won't give it up though.
Oh, I know for sure, but
yeah, not yet. At least he won't.
Right. So,
man, he's got every car too. Every car with every single platform of that variation of car. God, it would be great just to buy his files. Because
I wish you would let him go.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you, me, and a bunch of other people that have 3D printers, we'd just go crazy. We'd spend hundreds of dollars just to get the files so we can get as many cars as we want.
Right. And I would do it too. Probably go broke doing it.
Yeah, I think we all would do it because there's plenty. I would love to have every single year of Impala that he's designed, which is almost every year.
Sure. And so I was working on, last time I was working on some 90s and 80s cars that I had history with or whatever, This is a early 90s Honda Accord. I had one of these in real life for years that lasted forever and never let me down. So left a good impression for me. And then my parents had this little Toyota back when I was a kid. So
is it a Camry station wagon or is it what? Do you remember what Toyota?
Tercel.
They made a Tercel wagon. I didn't know
Tercel wagon. It had 4-wheel drive. So we had
wow.
We had a lot of fun in that little car over the years. But I finally got them finished. I got the windows. I did sort of the Mike Budd way, but I put the windows on the inside of the car with the sticky side out.
That's how I do some of my cars. That's how I did. No, I didn't do that with this car, but yeah, that's how I do some of my cars. And
then I just spray painted clear over it to remove the sticky part, basically, and then it kind of seals it in too.
I've never done that. That's a
So they came out
ingenious
pretty
way. I
good.
just leave it sticky on the outside and let my fingerprints hit it all over the place.
Oh yeah. So I had fingerprints all over these guys too, but now I sprayed it with clear. Uh,
That's actually
it's
such a
not.
good idea.
I don't know if you can tell. Kind of.
I never did that because I kind of thought that the clear might drip all over the clear tape or something. I don't know.
Just hit it with a light coat.
Yeah, that's such a smart idea.
So I got some decals working on for the tail lights and the grills for these guys. Coming soon. But I did print another car, a GMC Typhoon.
Oh, like an 87 through like 89 body style or something like that? Yeah.
But it was the special turbocharged one that had the same engine as the Grand National.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I got that one. I got a Honda CRX.
Oh, that's my wife's favorite car of all time. I'm going to need a mold of that. Or not a mold, I need a whole
3D
car
print
that when you're done.
Yeah. Well, you can see how far I got. It was painted. At least I painted it.
Right. They look cool though. Like, for the car guy, they're gonna know for the most part what those are just by looking at them.
Right.
Around about what year they are. So that's neat.
Mostly nobody make. I got two of those CRX. I'll send you one. Here's my little pile, my stash of cars that I've printed and haven't done anything with yet. But most of these are those two, Honda and Toyota.
That's cool.
I played around and I printed some wheels for the Corvette. I think I showed those on the Facebook group. So the monogram Corvette, I printed some correct error wheels. Also the Chevy Camaro. I think you've seen this car before, the chassis.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
I think that's a Toyota something.
Because that's literally a body shop car right there, waiting to be, tore down more or fixed up and put back together.
Got a couple cool old square bodies that this is a double door king cab or whatever you call it, crew cab. Came out pretty good. Then I got one with no hood, single cab, and then I got a dually bed. You can see the bed didn't survive the removal of the support. So,
you know what? That's perfect. Just the way you got it. Cut out the center of the center axle area, and you make a mini truck out of that. A full-size mini truck.
Put it under a tree and have some rust.
Or do that.
Yeah. So I got a bunch of parts that I keep on, getting distracted by making buildings for these cars. But here's some fender flares for the Chevy square bodies.
Oh, you made fender flares? Oh my goodness, that's cool.
Or the ranch bumper. Ranch hand bumpers. I think they're a little too small for those Ford
RPS trucks.
Yeah. But
well,
I'm just playing around with these.
If you cut off the end curve parts, it might fit. Maybe. Like just leave the center straight bottom bumper, cut off the curve parts, and leave the headlight grill bezel there. It might fit.
I got enough dang wheels and parts to last a lifetime. This is the good and the bad thing about a 3D printer, because you can just go and, I want another one. I want another one. I want another one.
Right.
And before you know it, you have.
I've been saying that ever since I got my printer. I want another one. I want another one. I want an easier one. I want one that just lets me drag and paste.
Well.
The crazy thing is with technology being as fast as it is, look, 3D printing's only been around for 5 years? and we're
Yeah,
already
about
up to resin 3D printing that is like way better, 100 times better than the first version spool kind. And
right.
just think, maybe another 5 years, it'll literally be what I want. Maybe
It might be.
sooner.
You might get your paint booth after all.
Yeah, 3D printer, paint booth, and curing spot all in one.
Here's a. I'm trying to dig it out of the pile of crap. Uh, the Chevy Impala SS wheel that was in the early '90s, I guess.
94 through 96.
So I was trying to make one of those Caprices into an Impala SS. Anyhow.
That's awesome.
So, and then I also have on the project deck, I'm making some 18 vans, and I think I'm going to sell those on eBay once they're done.
Well, I don't have one.
Like I'm using the Trident van.
Yeah.
Which I did in the past. It turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, are you 3D printing like the grill and not the grill, but like the bumper guard grill and like the spoiler and the rims or something?
Yes.
So all you got to do is like slap that stuff on the van and then paint it?
Yep. So I got the first coat of paint done on those vans. And I need to finish up.
I'm going to buy one. And I'll pay for full price for it. So just let me know how much.
Let me turn my camera back around. Yeah. So.
Oh, and I just sold that Dukes of Hazzard. You remember earlier last year I told you I sold the Dukes of Hazzard car?
Yep.
And I need you to make me another one. Well, the East Coast Circuit just finally finished up with that lot of cars that I sent over to them that was part of that Dukes of Hazzard sale. So I just packed it up today, and it's going away on Monday.
Okay.
So whenever you get a chance.
Right.
I'll pay you for that too.
I dug some decals out, so I still have some decals. I got to find the cars, the Chargers.
Well, no rush, man. Just, I know you're busy. Whenever you get a chance, because we're already like super good friends that we're building stuff for each other, so it's all good.
Right.
And even if the crap I build doesn't amount to the amount of money you need for it, I'll pay for it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do the team up thing with you. So I know your lowrider skills are pretty cool. Mine are mediocre. Well, your lowrider skills are awesome compared to mine.
For anybody that's watching, I just decaled this. This is Joseph Blevins decals that he made for me. I mean, he didn't design them. They were already designed. He just printed them because I didn't have a printer that could do it. So it's a Greg Dixon casting of probably like a 73, 72, 74, 75 full-size Chevy Caprice or Impala. Same body, same car. And I just put these decals on it, put the windows in it, left the interior white, chromed when it needed to be chromed. It's still in the works. And I got this other one. It's the same car, just with different decals and a different paint job.
Looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, I got. It wouldn't look nearly that good without your decals. So, boom, buddy.
I don't even know what kind of car this is. I think it's an El Camino.
It is an El Camino 1960. Is that a LKQ?
LKO car? Or whatever?
LKO, yeah.
Yeah, I've had
those
this
are the
forever.
Cheapest, crappiest cars ever, but they're the only company that made a 60 El Camino. Because Burka, whatever that name is, they make a 59.
Burkana, yeah.
Yeah, so LKO was the only company to make a 60.
Oh, okay.
So it's a cool car, even though it's a crappy car.
Right, and that's decided I was going to play around with it and decal it up and see
how
it turns out. I need to find the glass and the seats for it. I know I have them somewhere.
Well, even if you didn't, just put some foggy windows in there, like spray clear over the glass and fog it up or something, and it could be like a a regular old style LKQ with no interior.
Oh, hell, it might not even have an interior, to be honest with you.
I don't know that it does, because I know like their station wagons that they made and other cars that they made, they didn't have interiors.
Maybe I'll have to print a seat.
Here's something crazy. At the I think the St. Louis, no. I don't know where I got this. I got this from Dan Gones though. It's a tow truck, 1960s style El Camino tow truck that has this box on the bottom. I think it's a magnet, so I don't really know what it was made for, to be pulled or pushed or something. But I can't even tell what kind of car it is. Let me turn my screen around so people can actually see this, because it's really kind of neat, and I got it because of its uniqueness. So it looks like it's an El Camino of some kind, but the back end doesn't match anything I've ever seen, and this front end also doesn't match anything I've ever seen. And then the side body, it kind of reminds me of maybe one of the Revell 61 fleets that they did, just modified, but it's not that. I don't know what it is, but it was so unique and odd. I thought, how cool would that be just to buy it? It was only $1, so it was pretty cool for what it was.
Yeah, that is pretty fun.
That reminds me of that 60 that you're working on.
Yeah, I don't think it's half bad if I add some good wheels to it, and since I painted
it, well, you definitely need lowrider wheels, because you got a lowrider paint job.
Yeah.
You need my little 13-inch spokes that are probably way too small, but they'll look right.
Yeah, and I remember you gave me a set when I was at your house.
Yeah, I didn't have white walls for those yet. Oh, you did? 3. Yeah. Well, they're so small. They're so small. I can send you another set. Whenever, because one of these cars are for you. So you pick whichever one of these glass houses that I'm building.
Okay.
You remember I told you a little while, I think on the live stream or something, I was building you a car and I couldn't tell you what it was until those white walls came in for those wheels. But these are what I was building. I was just waiting on those white walls. So now that I got them, one of those.
Yeah, I was going to add those wheels to this Cadillac.
That's a big ass Cadillac for some tiny 13-inch rims, but I've seen real cars that have real Cadillacs, like real 53 Cadillacs like that with 13-inch under spokes. So, I mean, it can work.
I painted the interior white, but I don't know if I was going to add anything else to it. Just make it slammed, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, just.
I don't have an eye for it like you do.
Sometimes a stock body with just attitude with rims and a lowering look is all you need.
It's enough, yeah.
I just like to go over the top because I've seen the stock cars lowered with rims more than I like to, and I just like to make it look different now. I mean, I could do it all day, all night, but
right.
Like those Oxford 61 Impalas I did, I turned them into lowriders. I liked the body and I liked the paint so much, and the color combo between the interior and the body color was so perfect. I thought all I needed was new rims and a stance, and the car's done. That's all I did to them.
Yeah, those turned out good. Those wheels on there, pretty good looking wheels.
Yeah, it's a 2-part wheel. I think who made the tires? There's a tire, and there's a beauty ring or an inside ring, like a lip, and then John Tyson's like station wagon spoked hubcaps for the lowrider spokes. So it's a 2-piece rim and tire to make a lowrider rim, and it came out cool.
It's an expensive adventure there if you got two sets of wheels on that thing.
It is. It's not as expensive as I've gone though. I had a 62 Bel Air that I bought from somewhere on the other side of the world. What's that guy's name? I don't know what his name is. I'm so bad with names. There's a European guy that makes resin cars, um, and he made a '62 Impala. Well, I bought these photo etched racing spokes for like Ferraris or something, and
Right.
then I bought another kind of wheel from like Burka or something, and I added those to it. And at the time, there was none of those photo etched spoked wheels online. So I had to reach out to a European train club website, and they charged me like for shipping and for the spokes. It just cost way too much. So I think I probably had close to like $30 to $40 just the wheels.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad, but they're the first true, and when I say true, I mean true lowrider wheel ever made for this 187 scale. So was it worth it? Yes. Do I regret selling it? Yes. But it was the first one truly to be lowrider style wheel ever made in the scale. So I got that over everybody else in the world.
Well, I tried to actually print some spoke wheels, but they didn't turn out good. They just came out as a rim, no spokes.
Yeah, I think
I guess
that's
it's
why.
too
I think
fine.
that's why. And I can't even say his name either. Severin, the guy over in the Netherlands. That's why I get mine from him, and he can't get the spokes to be separated from the rim either. It's just beveled spoke basically. And hey, it's cool. It looks great. I mean, the wheels are the exact size they need to be for the look, and painted and with the white wall, it looks exactly how it's supposed to look. So I mean, I can't ask for more really, especially for this scale. Just too damn small. And unless you go photo etch.
Yeah, I wish I knew how to photo etch.
Man, one of my guys from my 125th scale model car club has gotten into it, and he senses that he designs the design and the thickness to like millimeters or whatever, and then he sends all the files to China, and then they use their photo etching skills, and then sends them back. I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months, and then he sells them for like a huge profit. But they're worth it though. Like I bought a whole bunch of 125th scale photo etch parts from him, and they're 100% worth it. But yeah, I don't know how much they charge them, but it's got to be, well enough for him to resell it and make a profit. I'm sure he's not breaking even on any of this stuff. So, but yeah, see, that's different though. That's 125th scale. So try to do it at 187 scale. I mean, good luck. There are a company out there doing it. They make those Ferrari racing rims, but man, I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it, but I'd like just to have one of their machines so I can just print all the spokes I want.
I've seen the process online. I think on YouTube, it's like a chemical reaction, basically.
Oh, wow. So it's not like one of those wood engraver cutters where it's like a laser that literally, or like a water jet, like they do on the big CNC water jet machines today. It's not like that at all?
Not the one I saw. The one I saw was a chemical reaction kind of deal.
That's wild. Yeah, I never really looked into small things.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I already got my hands full with what I got going on. So I can't do anymore.
There's going to be a point. I know there will be. There'll be a point to where you can take that 187 scale photo etch spoke and create that on a 3D resin. It might have to be a little bit thicker on each spoke, just by like a hair thicker for each spoke, and a hair thicker for the width, or for the width of the actual photo etch. And it won't be as strong, but I think the printer will be able to do it. It just has to be designed in just the right way. And it may not be like the printers you have. It may be like the next generation or the generation after that. I don't know.
Well, if it can do this Corvette wheel, Not a very good representation. The front camera is not as good.
Isn't that always the case? The facing outward camera is great, but the facing inward camera sucks.
If it can do that, I don't see why it can't do a spoke. I don't know if that comes in clear or not.
We can see the individual teeth or the individual star pattern or whatever.
Right. So if it can do that, I don't see why it can't do a spoke. I just haven't found the correct designer yet.
Right. No, it has to definitely be designed just the right way. Because the very edge, the outside of those edges of the star is the thinnest part of that rim. That would be perfect.
There's a circle around the star. I don't think you can see it on the camera. Super hair thin.
Yeah,
maybe if I had a painted one, you can see it better, but I don't have a painted one. I got the other style that's painted, but
the lowrider rim just has to be designed the right way then.
And these aren't meant to be 187 either wheels. I downscaled them in the slicer software. No, they're bigger than that. I think they might be 125th.
Oh, wow. Golly.
So I downscaled the hell out of these.
That's awesome. What like size rim does it end up being? Like a 15-inch, 16-inch, or are they bigger? Like a 17 or 18? Oh well, you got that truck body right there. Just stick it next to the wheel well.
Yeah.
Oh, probably like a 15 then. 15 or 16-inch rim, probably. Maybe 17.
Yeah. It's for a 90s Corvette, early.
Oh, that's just the rim too. So that's not even the tire, or is that the combo?
No, that's the tire and everything.
Oh, okay. So yeah, probably like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17-inch, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a full-size Chevy truck, so, you know.
Put on the caddy. Yeah. It's perfect for the Corvette. I have one with the other style wheels on it, but they're the same size.
I think Corvette rims, it's an 80s Corvette.
Yeah.
Right.
The monogram
I think
Corvette.
Those rims are like a 17-inch rim.
For the 80s?
Maybe 16. Because I know it's not a 15. There's no way Corvette had a 15-inch rim on a car back in the 80s. Because it had to take up the whole wheel well.
Yeah, I think it's probably bigger.
Yeah, 1960s was definitely a 15-inch rim because that was like the biggest rim they had for a full-size GM vehicle. But in the 80s, that's a pretty nice size diameter rim.
Yeah, and they had some fat tires on those things too.
Oh yeah.
For the Air anyway.
Probably the fattest production passenger vehicles that wasn't like exotic, like the Lamborghini or something.
Right. Here's the other style rim. Looks kind of big at that angle, but looking at it like that.
I mean, it fits the wheel well. That's what it's supposed to do. Like in the Corvette, world, it's supposed to. That's cool.
I do have one of those other wheels painted, so you can see the spokes better. I forgot. You see the tiny circle?
Yeah, no? That's neat. Well, I mean, no, we can see the. I think you call them blades, like the.
Yeah, the blades are there or whatever, but there's a tiny circle around the blade, like halfway between the center and the outside wheel.
That's cool, because I've actually seen that rim in real life, and to get that down that small, that's pretty cool.
Right, and that's why I think that those resin printers now, supposedly it prints in 4K, can do those things. I mean, like those Honda and Toyotas or whatever I made, I did zero prep work on that paint. Like I painted the body right off the resin, and there's hardly any layer lines in that sucker. You can kind of see it at an angle, but feeling it, it's smooth finish. I don't have them
It
glued
doesn't
down
have
to
to be
the
100% perfect. If you want 100% perfect, buy a die-cast car. That'll be,
exactly
I mean, it won't be scaled perfect, but it'll be painted and smooth perfect.
right. But I mean, that's like compared to what it was back, you know, 4 years ago or even 2 years ago. You can kind of see those airlines on the front of this car.
If you get some thick enough paint, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say too. I mean, plus these cars are sitting, you know,
Right.
at least 2 foot from somebody's face on the
Yeah,
layout
exactly.
or whatever. So,
I mean, every car I've ever painted is either got nail polish on it or spray paint because I don't use airbrush. And spray paint's thick as shit anyway, so. And nail polish is even thicker.
Thicker.
Because I don't dilute the nail polish. I just paint it as thin as I can because it's already super thick as it is.
Most of my cars I spray paint either with Tamiya paint or the model.
You go all out on that paint, huh?
Testers.
I use Duplicolor. It's supposed to be automotive paint.
I have a bunch of it. Actually, I bought at a store like on super clearance. I think that's this car right there.
Oh, nice.
But I have a bunch of cans of it that I bought on clearance from I think it's called Dirt Cheap.
It better be with that name.
But it was like $2 or $3 for the whole can. So
oh wow, that's awesome.
I bought every color they had.
Yeah, I'm
intentions
stuck
of using it, but
I'm stuck spending $10 a can, and I probably have $400 worth of spray paint in my garage.
Whew.
Yeah,
that's a lot of paint.
But hey,
yeah,
when you're making cool cars like this, you gotta have to have $400.
That's for sure.
Right.
Not every car
I could have that in airbrushes too, but I don't want to clean the airbrush because guess what? I don't have to clean my can. Once I'm done, I just put it back on the shelf and I wait till I need it again.
Yeah, actually, airbrushing is something I want to try to get into.
Oh, don't get me wrong; it definitely has its benefits.
Just because it's, I don't know. I think there's a huge amount of colors out there for those. Looking at Hobby Lobby or whatever the other day, and just at Hobby Lobby, they have a huge amount of colors for those airbrushes, and they have some really cool candy colors and flake, metal flake, and metallics and whatever.
They do.
So I would like to get into that.
It's definitely worth getting into. I won't lie. I just haven't got into it because I'm lazy. I don't want to clean that airbrush between each color.
What is it? Just a solution to spray through or what? I don't know. Right.
You take a airbrush cleaner. It's just like some kind of
alcohol
or something. Like alcohol or paint thinner in it or something. I used to have a bottle on my desk right here. Where it went. But yeah, like testers. Yeah. I buy the test. I use testers airbrush cleaner to clean my paintbrushes with because it's super quick.
Oh, okay.
Like, super quick. But yeah, you just pour it in there and then you run the solution liquid through the airbrush like you're painting it, but you don't have to, aim it at anything. You just aim it out that way so you don't put it in your face. And it cleans out the rest of the color of the previous color you just used. Because if you don't, what happens? You put the new color in, and if that's wet a little bit, the old color, or if it's even dry, it'll come off within the paint you're using. And then say you're using white and you spray painted red earlier, then it's going to come out pink. It just does.
Right.
So in between each color, you have to clean it, or else you're going to get a crappy paint job. Unless you desire a multicolored one color paint job.
A rainbow car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to, I guess, look into it more than just window shopping. Buy a cheap set and see how I like it.
You could, just to get your feet wet with it. I mean, they make some cheap, starter testers. Makes one for probably $20. Oh, okay. I don't know that it's actually a plug-in air compressor. I think it's like an aerosol. Oh, but it works the same way as I don't know. Don't listen to me.
Airbrush.
I don't really care. I don't look into airbrushing for nothing. If you want to airbrush my car for me, I'll look into it by paying you, but I don't want to do it myself.
Right.
I don't know. It's crazy. Like, it's so weird to think
stuff.
about, this hobby or just hobbies in general. And you find people that know how to do stuff and you become friends with them. Like me with you and your 3D printing. But, that was completely just out of a fluke, I think when I first met you, the RPM meet, I didn't know you were even doing 3D printing. Actually, I didn't really know you at all.
Right.
We just met up there. We hit each other. You hit me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit me up on Messenger. We started talking a little bit. You're like, you going this? And I was like, yes. And then you're like, I'm at this hotel. I'm like, hey, me too. And then we just became friends. And now you 3D print, and it's great. I mean, you're probably doing it then too, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I was, but it wasn't anything to write home about at that time.
Right.
I was still learning.
It definitely is now, though. Tell you what.
Not that I'm super expert now. Don't get me wrong. I would love to get into designing my own stuff instead of buying. Like my buildings, I design myself because it's fairly simple. But those curves on cars and whatnot, I can't do that.
Well, yeah, because buildings pretty much just have flat walls. And even if you want a curved wall, it wouldn't probably be too much just to bend a wall, unlike a full-on body that you'd have to know every dimension of every corner and every angle of it.
Yeah, I don't know how those guys do it. And then they're probably using way more advanced software than I'm doing. I still consider myself a beginner with it. I just gotten fairly decent at working the printer and doing it that way.
Yeah, well, man, I'm telling you what, ever since probably your first modern building that I'd never seen before, from a train company or whatever, a model company, I was a fan. But I was a fan the very first time you posted up that Dukes of Hazzard car. So that could have been before the modern building. I don't know. I mean, when you pulled up the RPM meet and you had the whole Dukes of Hazzard scene with the clubhouse or the whatever it was,
Horse
the
nest.
bar.
Yeah,
you're the first person to ever make that in this scale that is put it in social media, or you put it out there for the world to see. So I mean, if somebody else did make it before you, nobody seems to know about it, because I would know.
Right.
Because I searched this stuff purposely to know what's out there, so I could be the first to do it, and you beat me to it.
And I'm kind of like you too. Like, I never see my stuff again once I sell it.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Unless
that just drives me up the wall. Like, you spent so much money.
Yeah.
You spend so much money on a certain item. You should be proud of it and want to just show it off to the world. I would think.
Right.
But I don't know.
I misspoke about that, because I did have I have a guy. It's not the bus guy. What's his name? Campbell.
Theodore.
Yeah, it's not him. I have another bus guy that buys buildings for me or whatever. He always wants like bus stations. So and I think he's modeling bus diorama only or whatever. But he's got like, I don't know, a 4 or 5 foot section. Originally, he
bus stop after bus stop after bus stop after bus stop.
Wait, he's got a bus station. Then he had a fast food restaurant or something like that with it.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But he's been slowly building up his stuff. And as my skills have progressed or whatever, then he's like, well, make me this style. So I made him a bus station last year that is somewhere in New Jersey, I believe. He sent me some pictures of what it was or whatever. So I duplicated it as best as I could. And the model actually made it into the iconic replica bus company, the one who makes the little buses, into their yearly calendar.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That is really cool. You're famous.
But he since then sold that building to somebody else.
Oh, wow.
I made him a really modern Greyhound bus station from, I think it's in Phoenix or somewhere. He sent me the address for it, so I can Google Google Earth it and looked at it, and so I think he's in the middle of redoing his little diorama. I
Right
think
on.
this is like the third or fourth bus station he's bought from me, but
That's
he
neat
keeps
though.
on buying them and selling them, and then asking me for different
Right.
ones.
But you know what? Hey, at least it's not stuck in one person's like basement or one person's, closet, never seeing the light of day. At least he's getting some use out of it for a little while and then giving that same pleasure to somebody else.
Right,
Even if he's making a profit off of something he bought from you, somebody's still getting pleasure off of that building.
right.
So that's neat.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like to see the stuff afterwards,
I
and
think
I'm
we all do. I would love to have people show me what they did with their Ghostbusters car and their layout. Nobody's ever
right.
sent me a picture. Not one person out of 20 cars, not one person sent me a picture of what they did with the car on their layout.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's yeah. I always ask, like, and it's kind of crazy sometimes. I'm like, I have one guy who I bet he's bought every single kind of building I ever made,
Wow.
and I say, hey, let me see your layout. He goes, oh, I don't have one. I just collect these buildings. For when I retire, I'm going to build an empire. I'm like, oh my gosh,
It's gonna be like what's that
Christmas
football player
for
that
him.
does the
All of,
yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Maine
nationwide
Panning with
commercial. Yeah,
yeah. It's gonna have a warehouse just full of your buildings with trees and hills and roads.
right. I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy to me. But I did the same thing. I have all these trains and stuff like that, but I don't have a layout to put them on. But
Right.
at least I have them
Well,
in the showcase now instead of just in a little plastic box.
I mean, I've said this, I've said it before to other people. I've said it before on the podcast, but I was looking at this train club, this switching and sipping and switching and something of North Carolina
Oh yeah,
train
you
club.
mentioned
And
that before. Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to become part of their club and have somebody build me a module just with the tracks in it all like wired up so that I can move this movie set onto that module. That way it's the best of both worlds of this hobby.
Right.
And even if it's a module that I can move in and out or around, I'll have it set up to where I can still connect my module to anybody else's module, and the tracks just be dead end on either side of my module. They don't have to connect to nobody unless we're at a train show and I set up with them.
Right.
But that's a plan, but I mean,
Yeah, and they
still
got.
hasn't
I
happened
think
yet.
I'm sure they have the same standards as the Route 187 modules where you have to be
Yeah,
your
they
road
do, which is
whatever.
neat because I looked into it and their tracks. I think they got two main line and a third line behind it, or maybe I don't know, something similar to that. But their two main line set far enough off of the front of the module that our
Uh-huh.
road still fits in front of the track.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Yeah.
was thinking of like doing a herringbow kind of thing where the track starts here on the module and then it swoops in close to the edge so I can switch the road to stay here and then cross over the track and go more further inwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That'd
That's
be
my
cool.
idea, but it's still, I haven't joined that club and I still don't have a module from that club. So whenever that's going to ever happen, I don't know.
Right.
You just have all these
Yeah.
ideas and it's just time and the right timing. That's what I need. I don't have enough right timing.
Right.
I've got time, just it's never when I want it to be.
I don't have any time. I feel like it anyway. Luckily, this
Well,
year, or so far this year, I haven't traveled anywhere for work, so that's good
that is
for the
good.
most
You can
part.
stay home and print more stuff. So,
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been doing. But now
you
I
know what would
feel
be
like,
really neat? If you get a third machine that has an arm that is Bluetooth compatible and then have your 3D printers Bluetooth compatible, that the arm will take the print that just got done printing and put it in the, curing box or whatever, and then it moves
right?
it, and then it pours more resin in there. So you could literally be out and about and get all this stuff done. Like when you're away for like a month or 2 months in another state, you can still be printing stuff even when you're not home.
Right. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I thought about traveling with them too, but they're kind of still a little
bulky. You need to be driving. You would have to drive if you were going to do that. And driving, I don't know that your company is going to probably let you pay you to drive 3 days to get to another state or something.
Right.
Because think about how long it would take you to get from your city to Virginia, you know?
Yeah.
Probably a good two full days, maybe.
I would think so too, yeah. Well, we got some action going on in Waco. It's only about an hour and a half down. I can take a printer there.
Yeah, that's a day trip. You go there, come back that night if you needed to.
Right.
Or just take that stuff with you and stay down there.
Yeah, I was gonna take it with me because I don't want to do that 3-hour drive round trip every day.
Yeah, I was doing that with one of my with the company I was working for. I was a technician for the cable company, and we had to fill in spots for another city that was an hour and a half away. And for a full week, I thought, I'll just drive back and forth because I don't want to be away from my family for that. And then that week was done. I was like, I'm not doing this no more. Give me that hotel.
Right. Exactly.
This is BS.
That road wears you down for sure.
Yeah. Well, here, check this out. In California, and this was in my early 20s, so it didn't bother me nearly as much as probably would now. I worked 50 miles away from where I lived. Going there in the morning took 2.5 hours because of traffic, bumper to bumper traffic every morning. And I worked a Monday through Friday shift. And we had to be there at 6 in the morning. So figure 2.5 hours, you're leaving before that, and there was still traffic at that time of the morning. I had to be to work at 6. If I didn't leave at the very minute I got off, so meaning I had to have somebody clock me out or whatever, if I didn't leave that very minute, if I was 3 minutes late or 5 minutes late to get to the freeway, 3.5 hours to get home. Every day. I tell you what, we didn't do nothing, me and my wife, for that whole 1.5 years I worked for that company, even on the weekends, because I was playing catch up on my sleep.
I bet, yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, it was bad. But, you do it for, a month and it just seems, oh, this is normal. It does, it's not a long drive because this is the normal drive.
Right.
But yeah, when you get out of that and you don't have to work there no more, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? That was so stupid. I was getting paid minimum wage to do that job. This is dumb.
You were paying to work, basically.
Right, but that's the California life.
Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah,
it's pretty, but that's it.
It's not even pretty anymore. We went out there 5 years ago or 4 years ago because my grandpa passed away and we spread his ashes into the Pacific Ocean. And I hadn't been there in I think 7 years before that. I'll tell you what, man, that place is yucky looking. It's gross to me.
Southern,
unless you're
at
what? The beach. Yeah, Southern California. Because there's only one season out there. And the only time you get a hint of possibly another season is if it rained for like a couple days before then. Because there's like two colors. It's green because it had just rained, or it goes back to brown where it's dead all the rest of the year that it didn't rain.
Right.
So, yeah, there's it was just gross. I never want to go back there if I don't have to.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great weather-wise area to live, and the cars are plentiful, but nothing else appealing is out there for me.
Right. Yeah, I've been out there a couple times for work, and it's in Sacramento area though. It's not.
Oh no, that's different. That's way different than Southern California. There's a lot of trees up there.
It was hotter than hell.
Yeah, well, it's one season, buddy. Just like Texas, except for this past year.
Yeah.
Not even this past year, the beginning of this year.
Right. Well, we have 2 weeks of fall usually and 2 weeks of spring.
In the desert, it's just cooling down. It's not an actual season.
Right.
It cools down 20 degrees. That's all.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed, but
When I first moved out here, I would explain to people how California was. I was like, look, at like 80 degrees, you put on a light jacket because it's cool. And then around 90, you take it off. They're like, what? That's stupid. We're sweating to death at 70 degrees out here.
Right. Yeah, you see that. Like today here, it was, I don't know, 65 and it was pretty sunny, but it felt warm. I had short sleeves on the whole day.
That's cool. It was warmer out here yesterday than it was today. I think today, probably in the 50s, which isn't bad. But it was a little breezy, so it blew the cool air to you instead of letting that sun just really warm you up.
Warm you up, yeah. Anyhow, what else?
What else? I don't know. I like talking to you, though. I like kind of having this second chance to talk to people like we did on the live streams. I already talked to half of them already, so when we re-talked, it was like we didn't have to do the interview part again. We could just talk. Right. I was actually thinking about it. Tell me what you think about this. I don't know that it's going to work too well, but having a separate playlist, so like a second channel on this channel, but like a second playlist channel of just shit talking. I call it shit talking. We can talk about whatever, as long as we don't get like super deep into politics or religion. We can get a little bit into both, but I don't want to go super deep because I don't care. But I was thinking about that, but I don't know how many people just want to hear two people talking, unless it's about something that they actually like and care about.
Right.
Like this, we're still talking about models, so it relates greatly to anybody that's listening to this. Because the only people listening to this are modelers anyways.
You would think so. You hope so.
Right. You want to hear something funny? So on my my history of Halfass Customs, it was the first episode I think I did of that where I talk about the history, the literally history of the name and the buildings and stuff. And this guy just recently posted, I thought that company was up in Canada. You stole that name. How dare you? Or something very similar to that. And I had to like really school him, and then he never replied back. But I said, dude, I've been using this name for over 20 years. That company just started like 7 years ago. They're a baby compared to how long I've been using it. They stole it from me. And then I contacted them and they never responded because they knew they stole it. So check your facts, buddy.
It's freaking Canada. Who cares?
Exactly. Although they make some pretty cool custom cars, but yeah, I mean, and that's a real car company. They're making real one-to-one cars compared to me just building model cars. But yeah, I said, I've been using that name for over 20 years. So check your facts because you're wrong. Yeah, that's the first negative comment I've ever gotten on this channel so far. And it's because somebody was just blabbing out of their mouth, not knowing what the heck they're talking about.
Right. Or the people who say, well, that General Lee is a 68. It's supposed to be a 69.
Look, car buff, just like it because it is what it is. Look, does it have the overall look? It's not like we put that paint color and the decals on a Pinto. So as long as it's got the look, it's the car.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you couldn't tell me that all my 64s were 64s and one of them might have been a 63. It looks like the same car. So unless you know what it is, most people don't.
Right.
So don't worry about it.
And I couldn't tell you what the hell it is either myself. I know it's a Chevy Impala, but that's all I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
it's a 6.4.
Right.
But if I were to put a 63 up to it, you would think it was the same car still. So,
well, I'm sure.
Because 63 and 64 shared pretty much the same exact body style with the same chassis and everything. And 61
especially
and 62
in 187 scale.
Right. Just like 66 and 65, it's the same exact body, which is different taillights and a different grille. But the body is exactly the same.
Right.
Even the body trim mold in the middle of the car that breaks up like a two-tone area could be or whatever.
Right.
It's the same car. Yeah, but yeah, unless you know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, That's like me. I just want one or two of each car, and then I don't need any other versions except for the 64. 64 is the
Right.
most popular Impala ever made. So you got to have plenty of those to feed your passion.
Right. That's why I
And
have 8 or 9 of them printed.
yeah, here's an interesting fact too. In the lowrider world, the reason why the 64 Impala is so popular is because the suspension on that was
Uh-huh.
made well before they even thought of it, was made for hopping. That's why
Oh,
there's more
really?
64 Impala lowriders out there than there are of any other lowrider, because the whole entire suspension system is the most perfect system for a hydraulic adjustable system and hopping system to be put into a car. No other car has a better system than that.
No, was it built for comfort back in the 60s or?
I don't,
Oh,
I mean, the Impala was the top of the line model for 64, but I mean, even the Biscayne or the Bel Air, it's the same body, same chassis, same everything, just different trim levels, different
trim.
interior, different engines. But it's that suspension chassis setup. It was made for hopping
Right.
before GM ever even thought about it. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's an interesting fact. And now you got 8 of them, or 9.
Yeah. I mean, I can have 200 of them if I wanted.
Right. Yeah. Have yourself a 1964 dealership.
Exactly. You know, I thought about doing that too, like to just to build a retro dealership to see what, how it turned out or whatever. Um,
Yeah. You
I
know,
still want to do that, like with the
Joe
80s.
Fay did that. Joe Fay did that for like the mid 60s, the late 60s. He has a
Yeah,
Chrysler dealership with every model of 60s on there.
Chrysler.
Like every year, like say it was like 68. So like every 68 model of Chrysler Mopar on that lot.
Right.
And it's amazing. That was awesome.
That's pretty good. Mike Budd's got a cool one on his layout too, of
He
his Chevy
does.
dealership. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that guy. I tell you what, both you and me both need to move to St. Louis, or they need to move. You and him need to move closer to me. One or the other.
Right. I
Because
already did my time on the East Coast.
if I know, if Mike could be my modeling father, oh, bring it on.
Right.
Let him pass down all that great knowledge of building models. I'd take it
He's
all.
a half the talent he had, we'd be pretty good. We had it.
Right. I mean, he's awesome. They're all awesome.
But
Everybody's awesome in their own way. It's such a neat, I don't know, hobby to be in, to see. Even like when you see beginners, because if you watch them long enough, they slowly get better and better and better.
right.
Like you with your buildings, you weren't that great in the beginning, and now look at you. I mean, you still don't think you're great, but I think you're awesome. I think you are great. But no modeler thinks they're great. Everybody thinks, oh well, I could have done this a lot better. I could have changed this. This should have looked this way. I didn't do it or whatever. And everybody else
Right.
looks at it like, oh, you're a genius. That's the best thing
Right.
I've ever seen.
Right.
So,
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, have the same down look on yourself or whatever, like, oh, I wish I could do it like him or whatever.
right.
But even though you're not looking at what you're putting out or whatever, you always have you're the biggest critic ever of
I mean,
yourself.
so like perfect example. I'll use myself because I'm very self-centered and, arrogant. I build the best lowriders and hot rods and customs in this scale in the world. Beat that. But even I don't like half of the crap I build because I can see all the flaws and all the crap I did wrong with it.
It's true. I mean, it's true.
Don't blow my head up any bigger. It won't fit in this room. My hat will.
Right.
No, but that's what I kind of, I don't really build, say for quantity or for resale or whatever. I try to build the best version of that car I can, and blow people's minds away with what I was able to do with it.
Right.
But not really specifically, like, what am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, I like to build like one-off things and like stuff nobody's ever seen before. That's why I did the Ghostbusters car, and that's why I'm doing all these other movie cars, trying to build stuff and make it the very best version of that thing that you've ever seen in your life, and maybe ever see for the next, you know, good couple of years or tens of years or whatever. That's what I try to do. I just try to outblow the competition away so nobody can come close to me.
And that's what I kind of started with my buildings or whatever. I wanted them because I wanted it.
Yeah.
To take pictures with the cars I collected or cars that I had.
Yeah, they're perfect backdrops.
So yeah, I wanted it for that reason, not to make a side business out of it, but it's kind of turned into a side business out of it. But what I do with the money I make from that, I reinvest into more 3D printers or, you know, stuff to better the skills, more cars, the collection of cars, whatever, you know. So I try to use that money as play money for hobby stuff, mostly.
That's great, though. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, the minute your hobby ends up having to feed, say, your house payment or your life arrangements, that's when it then becomes a job and not
you're in trouble.
Hobby.
Yeah. You can get yourself in trouble too that way if you're depending on that money for, you know, to feed yourself or whatever. But,
yeah, like I'm depending on these interviews to keep this podcast going.
Well, you can interview me every other week, but people are going to be tired of seeing it.
You could be my co-host. We could be
right.
Yeah, you need to get a nickname. I'm already half-ass custom. Maybe you could be full-ass customs.
Quarter-ass custom.
Or that, whatever. Yeah.
Or maybe tenth-ass customs. But yeah.
Whatever.
So that's what I do.
You'll be customs with a C, because you're.
That's how I really started doing my stuff. It's because I wanted it. Just like these little one-off Toyota and Honda cars, because I wanted to have it.
Well, yeah, and then
for myself, because it meant something to me at one point, you know.
Yeah. Well, wait till you get those cars finished, and then people are like, "Oh, I've never seen that in this scale. Where did you get it? How much? Can I buy one?"
Right.
It'll get there. You know, just like your buildings started off that same way, where you posted it and then people looked at it and was like, "Oh my God, I need one. I have to have it."
Right.
So I'm sure the cars will eventually get there too with the more and more you post, because if nobody's producing that car in large quantities like a train company or a toy company, and you've got it, you know, people are going to want it. Maybe not a ton of people, but there will be people that want it. I mean, I want some of those cars already, and you're not even done with them.
Yeah, I would like to make like I know we talked the other day when we talk about the lowriders or whatever, like the 90s Hondas that everybody souped up, or the little mini trucks, the little Toyota and Nissan trucks. But
back in the 90s, import cars were Euro lowriders. They had a whole magazine just for Euro lowriders.
Right.
It didn't last very long, but they had a dedicated magazine just for those.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of cool, because you see the 125th models like that.
Right.
Or,
all the time.
Yeah. But nobody has it in the 187 like you have for the lowriders. You know, I thought, well, maybe do a little bit newer generation or whatever, you know, for the.
Right.
Because those lowrider trucks were like all the thing when I was in high school.
They're coming back, dude. No lie. I've been following it. This craze of the bed dancing.
Oh,
trucks.
Really?
Oh, it's a huge movement right now. Like, it just blew up out of nowhere. Like, people like realized, oh, that used to be a thing. Oh, we definitely have to have that back for no reason, because they're useless beds. They don't have competitions at any car show to make your bed dance better. Like in the 90s, they did, early 90s. There's competitions out there for it, but they don't have competitions today. So it's a useless thing to do to your truck, but it's a craze that's becoming bigger and bigger, like monthly.
Yeah,
so that whole
that's interesting
craze of mini trucking, lowrider mini trucking is coming back in force.
Right.
But
That'd
just
be
like,
cool,
like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, the 70s and 80s full-size fans, like
right.
that made a huge comeback. And you started seeing those more and more and more. And you're like, what? Why? How? What? But it did. And that's the same thing that's happened with these mini truck lowriders. They're starting to come back.
Right. I wanted to do a couple of those vans. I did two. I did one that looks like the Mystery Machine out of those street whip vans, and
Yeah, that
a
was a cool one.
stabbing wagon.
Yeah, that was a cool one too. And you know what? They're part of car culture too, because they weren't ever huge, but it had a big enough following for those vans to become something more than they ever were meant to be. I mean, they were just meant to be family vehicles, like a box station wagon, basically.
Right.
And people turning them into, luxury mini truck, psychedelic kind of 80s weirdness,
Right. It was crazy the stuff they can do.
Right.
Like,
I mean, they even had one of those in Edward Scissorhands, the movie. Like the love interest of what's her face had
Winona.
Yeah, 80s love van.
Yeah, I remember that now you say that.
Right.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah. I think Johnny Depp's in works of making a part 2, or they're in talks about it. It's just talks, though. I saw it reported.
Oh.
It reported talks about Edward Scissorhands 2, so we'll see what happens. It may never happen because it's just in the talking mode, but
right.
If he came back as Edward Scissorhands, that'd be kind of funny.
He might have arthritis by now.
Yeah, right. And he's much more scars all over him, and he's got tracks where he's like just clawing his face.
His scissors would be really rusty now.
Oh, that'd be funny if they were literally rusted and his hands were stuck. He's trapped up there in that mansion on top of the hill.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what else is next.
And if he talked, he had like a British accent. Because, there was that time period that he thought he was British for some reason.
Right.
But that's what's neat about this hobby now. And I was talking to this with this guy last night, that 3D printing is giving us the ability to get stuff we never thought we could possibly have.
Right.
So it's neat. And, with the right people and the right websites, you can almost find anything for the right price.
Yeah. Or if you can't, do it yourself. That's what I ran into with the buildings. I wanted, something odd or whatever. So I was like, let me just do it myself. So I took the time and taught myself, and then slowly been improving the skill, where now it kind of looks like a shrunken down model of the real thing. And
yeah, well, your module of that shopping center, dude, that's awesome. You just dirty up that road so it doesn't look like it's just got built and it's brand new. That thing would almost look real. I'm waiting for dust to collect on it. Yeah. Mine's got plenty of dust. I'll send some to you.
Right. Yeah, I'm just waiting for some dust to collect onto it.
Yeah. If you what would be kind of neat is if you took maybe like 4 parking spots or 5 parking spots or 6 parking spots and something, and just took some black marker and made it in circles to look like somebody was doing donuts in that parking lot.
Right. I need to weather. You're right. I need to weather it down a little bit.
Just the road, though. The buildings look pretty good. I mean, it could literally be a brand new shopping center that just opened. But even then, the road would still have sort of a weathered look, because nothing looks perfect, even brand new, road-wise in the road. Unless you were using concrete road. If you were using cement concrete road, that could look brand new for like a few years. Sure. But yeah, like if you're using a tar road or something, then it never looks brand new.
Right, it fades away. And I want to. It was my first stab at it. I already kind of want to rebuild it, because I know we're going to have more time, possibly, maybe if RPM doesn't happen this year. But
just add on to it. Don't rebuild it. add on to it. Just build another module.
Well, I want to make it more elevated, not elevated, but elevation to it, So like the
make
grass
another
areas.
module elevated. Have the road down here, and then the buildings like up on a level higher for the next module, but have the road at the same level. So when you're pulling into the shopping center, you got to go up a hill.
Yeah,
It's just the way the land was. They couldn't mow it down low enough.
Right. So I've been toying with that idea, but I need to get that out of my head because it took me forever to build that one just because it's of my laziness, mostly, or my busyness.
All of us, man.
But
I've told you 1,000 times I want to build a parking lot, just a parking lot that is like 4x2 or 6x2 or something, and I still haven't even started it. Never even bought the wood. Wow. So
yeah.
There's just so many other things. Like your brain just flutters with ideas and thoughts, and things get pushed out of the way and other things get pushed in the way. And it's just, if you could just focus on one thing, start it, finish it, and then move on. Right. But our brains don't really work that way. You can't shut off your thoughts, to get one thing done from what you started. So.
Nope. And it's like, oh, let me do this because it's more, I want this more, but you've been wanting this something else longer than that. But, that little parking garage I did, it only has 2 levels. I don't know, about like 10 spots or whatever. But, I thought that was cool. So I stopped everything and built that over a weekend.
Built that real quick. That was fast, man. And it looked really cool. How many people told you they wanted something like that? I know there was a good few. Yeah,
it was quite a number of people, but I just haven't got around to do it again because I want to make it better for somebody else,
Yeah.
For myself, it's fine, but somebody else, I want to make it better.
If you did that parking garage and made it look like those racks, like the same racks as you got, and made it look that way, so it didn't have to be, or just maybe a car length wider, so say 3 inches deep. And had every single level lit and every single back wall with some kind of like parking garage, building entrance look. You know how many people would buy this? Like, I'm telling you, man, a whole bunch of people. You would have a whole new market of business.
Yeah, I wanted to make one like the shelves on my wall, like that size and that depth. To
that'd be cool,
and just make a parking garage out of it, and then you can display your cars in that sucker.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can either have it flat like that, where it's only like an inch wide, or you can have it like 3 inches wide or something, where cars could just be pulled into the parking spot, and I don't know, whatever. But just the idea of doing that multi-leveled like these, so you can fit 50 cars to 100 cars in each one. Telling you, and you ask for like $200 or $300 for that, people would buy it. Because look at the clear display cases that hold model cars or like Hot Wheel cars in them. You get something that holds, like I got one back here that holds 10 cars. That thing was like $170. And it's got a glass backing, and the sides and the front and the levels are plexiglass.
Right.
It was like $170. And it just
for a 187 car?
No, for 125th scale.
Oh, okay,
but even the Hot Wheels ones, they're skinnier, they're flatter, they could be longer, they could be wider. Say one that holds 100 cars, things like almost $200.
Right.
So think about if you built something for these cars, you would have a market out there. Just ideas, buddy. With all that extra time you have.
Yeah. I want to do it for myself.
I know. You got to do that first, and then think about, maybe I'll open this up to the public.
Right. And I got some really cool, like, dealership ideas, actually. I've built a couple already. And actually, I got one from Landon Johnson. Or not Johnson.
Oh, you got something from
Drysdale?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on my pods for my twister truck.
Oh yeah, I twisted it.
Landon, whenever you're watching this,
right,
get on it.
So he designed a Ford dealership, and I 3D printed it, but I need to put it together. I need to make a module out of it.
That's cool.
And I think he showed it on his. I don't want to take all of his thunder, but he designed this. I just printed it. But you know, the Ford logo is going to be right there. There's the 18 van started. Here's some things for your garage there.
Hey, now you're a rock star.
Car post and another.
Yeah.
4-post deal.
That's
but
awesome.
I got a cool, like, here's one I haven't done anything with, and I printed it, but I haven't painted it, but I haven't done anything with it. Oh, the car dealership that sits, I don't know, like on a corner or something like that.
Yeah,
Window all the way around, whatever. Then I printed some displays, what I thought to be displays anyway. And so you can put car, that's too big of a car. You get a normal size car, put a Corvette on there. So like a Corvette in the display, and then I have like a stair step one here, and it's not even glued down. It's just something I was thinking about. I got this one that I printed up. It took forever to print because how big it is, but hold on a second. Let me go get another one.
That's an oddly shaped building, but it's neat because it's completely unique looking.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's why I did that one. And I designed that one by hand, or by my brain.
That's neat.
And
it's only neat because it's unique, If it was just a normal square building, it'd just be like, that's cool because you designed it, you made it, but it kind of looks like any other square building.
Here's a really cool, unique one, and I designed this building, or I mocked it up, but I didn't design it. I saw a picture of one, and I didn't want to buy the file for it, so I just designed it myself. But like a super modern car dealership. There you go.
That's neat.
So, but I want to do a full interior or whatever for them, but it's like a really thin piece of plexiglass or whatever. I don't know what it is. Clear glass or clear plastic. But I want to do like a modules with these. The Ford dealership, this one, and then this one, all three in a row. And I thought about making all those exotic cars that I've been collecting.
Yeah, I need to get some of those. I don't have about one of those. I got some of the crappy supercars, but not any like hypercars. The hypercars are like the ones that are really, really well made.
Yeah, those Mini Champs, I think, is the company who makes them. Who did? I think they're going to do a Mustang here pretty quick, shortly. The new modern style Mustang that everybody's.
Oh, that four-door SUV?
No. A real Mustang.
Oh, so like the 2020? That'd be cool. I like the 2019, 2020. That it's supercar like. Kind of has like a Aston Martin body style, sort of like long nose and short, cab or interior area with a swooped back end.
Right.
I don't know. It has that feel. And it's a 10-speed tranny that goes, I think, close to 200 miles an hour. I know the Corvette goes 200 miles an hour.
Those new transmissions blow my mind. I had a rental car recently with a 10-speed, and it just winds the gears up, but you can get the power out of it, or it feels like it's more powerful than it probably is because of how many gears it has. But
my mother-in-law's got this 2019, I think, 2020 Volkswagen. What is it? It's a Atlas the full size.
Oh, yeah, the big SUV.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's got an 8-speed tranny in it. I only know that because I was teaching my son how to drive today in it, and
Oh,
I said, "Look, don't move the shifter over, because you need to know how to use this shifter and actually use it if you're going to have it over. So let me show you, but don't use it because you'll screw this transmission up if you do." It went
my
up to
car, I
8
think, has
gears.
an
I was like,
8-speed.
damn.
Yeah.
My minivan, I think, only's got like 6-speed, and it doesn't even need that.
Well, they do it to put a smaller engine or whatever in there and make it feel like it's got a bigger engine. I don't know. I don't want to display all my stuff. All my
Okay, we'll
secrets.
blur. We'll Photoshop and blur it all right there.
Nah, I don't have very much in here. It's my closet where I have. Actually, I have my 3D printers in here. Now
Oh,
I
you
moved them
moved
in the
them in your
closet.
closet? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool because you shut that door and still be in your model room, and it quiets down a little bit more.
It does. Yeah. Here's that parking garage. And it's just a box.
Yeah, but just a box looks really cool.
Well, yeah, if you do it on the inside. If you make that parking lot, let me know. I can give you some of those bumpers and the lines.
Man, if I ever make it, it's been a dream of mine to make that for the last 4 years, and I still haven't. So
Look at some
I
Mel's
haven't
Diners up there.
Oh, there you go.
And then I think that black box has got the
Psycho House?
Cycle House in there.
That's cool.
Actually, I was going through my stuff the other day. I found my Munster house.
Oh, nice. Now you just
Mine's
need to
not
print your
anywhere near
Munsters
as good as
coach.
yours. I know. I need to print another one.
Yeah.
And every time you post it, I get people asking me for it. But
right, because it's all because of you, man. All because
I need
of you.
to somehow figure out how to make it better because that file is.
I think I think you could get away with the file as long as you just thicken everything up by, a little bit more.
Right, it's hard to do with somebody else's file though. You can only really modify stuff like that if you design it yourself.
Oh, okay.
Let me put my camera back around, dummy.
Yeah, I don't know how any of that works because, I'm old man brain.
You can only shrink it or make it bigger for somebody else's file.
I could imagine if you made it bigger, it probably wouldn't work that great either. I don't know. Maybe it would. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I actually did print that one that you got on my original resin printer, but I think I got the 4K one now. I think I'm gonna try to print it again and see how it turns out. Maybe it might turn out better.
Yeah.
Or more put together.
Maybe. And if it doesn't, just send it to me in pieces. I'll bring it back to life.
Yeah, you did a miracle on that one. I was really surprised, but it turned out.
Dude, you and I both. And I built that in one day. So I woke up early in the morning. It was the day that I was clocked in working. I built that. And it was crazy. Like I cleaned up, once the sun came up, I cleaned up the body as much as I could. And then I glued the body together that was broke. And then I painted it all black. And then just started detailing it from there. So
yeah, that probably helps hide all the sins too, is the black paint.
yeah. I mean, it came together within a few hours, no lie.
What'd you use for the gold? That turned out really good.
Oh, it's same thing I use for my body trim on some of the cars. I got it from Wish, that app Wish, where everything's like 80 to 90% off.
Yeah.
All their stuff comes from China though, so you gotta. Wait. You didn't want to order nothing from them in the beginning of the year last year, but I think they're pretty much over that scare now. So, I'll send you a link to what I use because it's really fine. I think 1 millimeter wide glitter tape, So
Yeah.
they got glitter, they got chrome, they got gold, they got all kinds of different colors. Tape. It's just literally that. It's just tape. So when they had gold, like this really bright, shiny gold, and it comes like in a pack of probably like 20 different colors, 20 different strips.
Okay.
And they're really thick strips, like about that thick, with the center circle being that small. So there's plenty of tape wrapped around that. And all the tape is, I think, a millimeter slicing. So they're only that thick as a millimeter or a little bit thinner.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the thinnest multicolored tape you can find on the market. They don't make a like a glitter tape or a chrome tape or any kind of other tape thinner than that, because it's too thick. The 1 millimeter is too thick for body trim on most of our cars, but I get away with it because most of my cars look ridiculous anyways.
Sure.
But I wish they would cut that 1 millimeter in half, and then it would look even better. But they're not doing that out there. That's what they offer, and I think you can get like 20 colors for, I don't know, $2.
Oh wow.
With like $1 shipping. Yeah, so it was so totally worth it. And I've only ever bought it once. I've still never run out of any color. And I use it for my 125th. I use it for the 164th. I use it for the 187 scale. I use it for everything. It eliminates you having to use the chrome pin for body trim.
Sure.
Because good luck in doing that. Even the 1 millimeter chrome pin, you can't get a perfectly straight line with.
No, I can't. My hands are not steady like that.
Yeah, most people can't. So that tape is the best thing. And you can even clear over the tape. So you put the tape down, then you shoot clear over it. It doesn't bunch it up. It doesn't eat it up. It doesn't do nothing to the tape. So it's like the best stuff in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, same as the tape window. It didn't jack that up either.
Which is pretty unbelievable too. I thought it would do that. Because I know there are some clears out there that are they dry by heat. So not heat by the sun or by light, but the actual paint will heat up and dry. So like, for instance, if you were to use like acrylic clear over these decals, it would bunch up and scrunch up and wrinkle the decal because the heat is heating up to shrink, to tighten over the part that you cleared.
Right.
So you have to put the decals on over the clear, and then the decals may not be shiny because, whatever. So some spray paint clear is heat activated to dry, meaning not by light or sun, but it has its own mechanism inside the paint that heats itself up.
Right. I think I use testers or whatever it is.
Clear.
Yeah.
That's good, because I was
Super
thinking
cool.
like tape would naturally probably crinkle because it's like this thin as paper, It's stronger than paper. It's like plastic, but I mean it's as thin as paper. I never thought about using clear for that. So
it was my experiment. It worked.
Well, it worked though, and I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that everybody else heard that too, because at least half of the cars I've used taped windows for, the interior tape is always sticking outwards where it's sticky. So
I tried Mike Budd's method of outsiding, matching it down with a toothpick or whatever, and then cutting around it, but it didn't never turn out right.
That's how I'll move this camera back again. Wait, what? What the? Let me get back to this. Back to meeting. I don't know why this does this. It just change stupid stuff. All right, so I did that with this car. I didn't do the windows on this one yet, but this one, if you look right down here at the corner where my finger is, you might see overlapping tape.
A little bit.
Where it shouldn't be. And even this, like, let's get the light on it. Even like down there, right on the corner, like this corner of the window, it overlaps. But I mean, I'm doing these wild, crazy paint jobs anyways, and most of the time the naked eye doesn't really see it unless you take a very clear photo of it. That's when you see all the flaws. But most people are going to look at that and just see the paint job anyways. They're not going to see the crappy window I put in there.
And it's always, you know, a 3-foot rule. It's 3 foot away from somebody's face normally.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm never really worried about that, to be honest. So, I mean, if you know, you didn't want anything like 100% perfect, like a John Tyson or Mike Buddy, you just wanted something that looked decent. I mean, the outside tape works. So, oh, yeah, I'll chrome out the window trim, let it dry for an hour or two so it's not soaking wet chrome, and then I'll lay the tape on top of it so I have a perfect outline of exactly what size tape I need. And then I just cut it. And then I take an X-Acto knife on the very corner of the tape, and I'll pick it up off of the scissors that I cut it with, and then I'll just lay it back on there, right on top of the chrome again.
Oh, so you have the chrome trim in the same step.
Yeah, because some of the chrome will come off, but it's so light that the window trim is still completely chrome, and you see a perfect outline of exactly what you need to cut.
Right.
So that's what I do. It doesn't, obviously, you know, like I said, I showed you, it overlaps a lot because I don't cut it exactly proportional. I want it to overlap. I want to have a little bit of extra so it sticks better than if it's literally supposed to sit on the drip rail of that window frame.
Right, and that's why my train of thought was to do the inside, because of you have more to glue or stick to.
Yeah, no doubt, exactly. And if you cut it right, or if you lay it right, you know, you can still pull it off very well with, say, like a curved window like this, or even the only problem you'll run into is like a 1950s window. You got the straight up and down A-pillars, and then the complete rounded window. You're not going to be able to pull that off too well on the inside.
No, that would be too much for that kind of tape.
I mean, you might be able to pull it off, but you'd have to really do some homework on figuring out just how to get it right.
Right. I tried that crystal clear method too. Have you heard of that stuff?
Yeah, I've never tried it. I've seen it. I don't like it. I've seen it on a lot of the older models, like the Aliform models before the tape method came out. People were using that crap, and it works great for a foggy window, but it's not clear.
Yeah. On the 2 Shapeways cars I built, the Acura Integra, whatever, it does has crystal clear on there. And I think it turned out decent. I had to dig it out, but I didn't like the back window. It was way too. I had to really lay it on there to get it to flow through. But it finally ended up drying clear. But now it's kind of like sinking in. I think it's too heavy or something.
Right, that's the other problem too. Back, I don't know, 2 years after I was into this hobby, I bought a small lot of cars, different manufacturer cars, from somebody that was getting out of the hobby. And then what he ended up doing, I think I probably bought like 10 cars from him. He ended up sending me like 30 or 40 cars. And he wrote a note, "I'm getting out of the hobby. I love to see your stuff. You got the most unique stuff I've ever seen in this hobby. Here's all that I have left. Go do something great with them."
Oh, wow.
And so I got a bunch of those Aliform cars with that crappy window style in there that I would just cut out with my razor blade and make better. Because that was kind of what they had to use back then, you know? They didn't have the tape method. The tape was out there. They just didn't know to use it.
Right. And I don't think I've ever had an Aliform car, to be honest with you. Those are those.
I got quite a few you can have.
Like hot metal.
Cars. I love them, to be honest with you. I love them to death. I could work with those all day, all night, because they're very simple. It's just like the 3D printing you're doing now. It's a body and a chassis and interior all into one. So you just put one on top of the other, and it fits. And then the wheels are like that pop metal or whatever you want to call it, and you just paint it, put a white wall on it or whatever, and you're done.
Right.
I mean, the cars are super simple. You just got to understand how to use that tape in order to make a window for, because
Sure.
you know,
It's not too thick. The body.
I mean, not the way they've made it. They've made it to
Okay.
where those chassis interiors just slide right into the body.
Sure.
So even like the most famous ones that you can see interiors for, like the 59 Impala and the 1959 Cadillac, they come with a convertible top, or you just leave the top off.
Mm-hmm.
The interior just slides right in like butter. It's a perfect fit. The only problem you have is if you want to lower it, you know, you either got to cut the tires in half and sink them inside the wheel well, or drill out with a Dremel the wheel, because the way the mold is, the metal mold they use it for the car to sit stock. So there's sort of like a tub built into the interior of the fenders for that wheel not to like sink further into the body and, you know, look stupid if somebody didn't know how to build it right.
Right.
You just got to drill those out or cut the wheel in half. And I was cutting the wheel in half when I first got those. And now I know just to drill out the wheel well better. But that's even like resin cars. You got to drill out the wheel well. Like a solid resin car, most of the time, they're going to come with like very little wheel well. So you got to drill those out anyways.
Right. And I've had a couple of those, and I think I recast them and then hollowed it out myself with a Dremel.
Oh, nice.
And then cut the windows out, but that was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I bet it was. I've never drilled out a full solid casting, because why?
Yeah, I wanted to clear windows.
Yeah,
and
I
never I never did anything with the damn thing anyway. I mean, it's still sitting somewhere unfinished.
Yeah. Johnny McIntosh has been doing that with I think William Radcliffe's cars and some other cars, like bodies. He'll drill them out, and I'm just thinking, God, that is so much work, because you drill a little bit too far and now you got a hole in the body, or you drill out something that has like a little quarter wind wing and you take out that post and now that's screwed up. It's just it's so much work. So much resin flying all over the room too.
It was. I mean, it was a pain in the ass, and I don't even know why I was doing it, because I never finished the project.
Right.
And I still have the molds. I mean, I can probably make more now if I wanted to.
You can just 3D print it a lot easier and faster if you find the file.
Yeah. The 3D printing is I mean, you can't reproduce them as fast as you can casting a mold, but if you're starting from zero from both methods, I think you can 3D print faster.
Probably
just because it takes forever for that stuff to dry.
How long did that white Tricel take from the starting of the print to the end of the print? A couple hours at least.
Yeah, like these two Monte Carlos tonight.
Yeah.
The ingenious thing about those resin printers is, unlike the filament printers, those resin printers just move up and down. So you can fill that whole bed plate up, and it still takes the same amount of time as if you had 1 or 10 objects on that build plate.
That's awesome.
Whereas a filament printer, the more you put on there, the longer it takes.
Yeah.
Because it has to move around and do one layer at a time. One layer, whatever. But those resin printers, you can fill up that bed plate and it'll still be the same amount of time. So these Monte Carlos took me 4 hours today. I only printed 2 of them. I had room to do way more, but I wanted to test it to see if I had the supports in the right area. And because sometimes you can get it and you overlook a support and the fender will be half missing because it didn't work out.
I got another movie car for you that I think is that Monte Carlo. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective drove something very similar to that body style.
That's true too, yeah.
You can make an Ace Ventura car from the first movie. I don't know if it's the same year, if it's the same Monte Carlo. It could have been something different. I don't know what that car was. I don't really care for late 60s or early 70s GMs or anything. I'm more 65 and older. That's my
Right.
genre of car. So I don't exactly know what that car was, but it looked like when you were showing that body, it reminded me of that movie.
I think it is. I think it is the same style.
Right. So you just put
But
broken glass and dents all over it and you got Ace Ventura's car.
right, paint it blue and put some dull coat on it.
Yeah. Have him sticking out the window saying, "Fit like a glove."
But or you rather, not me, I might try my hand at one or two. We're gonna make lowriders out of them.
Well, I like that.
Yeah, and I think some of these actually are made for the Monte Carlo. Like I really like this multicolor one right here. And I think that's for the Monte Carlo.
That is a beautiful design. This guy that designed them just really understood how to make amazing designs for lowriders.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're able to downscale them, because I try to downscale them. I can downscale them to a little bit bigger than a Hot Wheel before I can't figure out how to get the size right at all. Like my printer, or not even my printer, my editing software on my computer seems to go down by chunks and not by each individual number to like scale it just perfect. So say it's like you're going to print it at 100. Well, the next step is like 125. The next step is 150. The next step is 175. It's not like 110 and 115 and 120 and 125. It's bigger chunks that I can't get to fit right. And I'm just using the editing that comes with the computer. I don't have a different editor that would be better.
And I'll be honest, I don't have any edited like a Photoshop or anything like that. I use Microsoft PowerPoint, and I think I told you before. Like I will print like just a box, so I'll measure out like the hood with the little I don't know what the hell you call that thing.
That
the
thing,
little dial. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the hell that thing is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just use that.
Oh yeah, I just picked up one of those.
So I'll measure like the roof or the hood, and then I'll put a block on the PowerPoint, whatever, and I'll try to match the hood decal portion of it with the square, and the rest of it usually lines up. So that's how I scale it.
That's awesome.
An easy cheating way to do it, but it works.
You know what? It's not cheating if you figured it out. So at least you figured it out. I can't figure it out. So that's good. Yeah, I have a few. I mean, heck, that's the same kind of decals as these were, and you can't even really see the decal on this thing, but I mean, it's the same decal setup. I mean, it was designed by the same guy.
The sorry thing about printing on clear decal paper is you got to have a light colored background.
Yeah.
For them to show
light
up
oranges,
pretty good.
Light pinks, light blues, light greens, like super lights though. Because if you don't use silver or white, then the decal design just gets darker and darker over the color you want. And if you're doing a dark green, good luck in ever seeing it.
Right. And I can imagine like maybe black. There is one black.
Yeah. Well, you did this. You printed a few of these black background ones. I don't know how you did that, because I never sent you a black background decal. And
I don't think that was me.
You did it, mister. Oh, you know what? No, you didn't do it.
See, told you.
That was somebody else on the other side of the world again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
would love to have one of those expensive printers that will do gold and silver and
Oh, that'd be
white and
cool.
all that stuff. But
Speaking of, I was talking to somebody last night. I don't know if you want to try this out. You don't have to because I know how busy you are. Somebody listening, somebody watching, somebody out there, design a decal set just in silver. It doesn't have to be chrome, of car trim for the 58 Impala. I need to make the grease car, not the grease car. I need to make the American Graffiti 58 Impala, but I want to paint the whole car white and just add the decals for all the trim on the car. I don't want to repaint all that trim on something so small. It just doesn't seem feasible to make it look perfect. But if you have decals that could go over that white paint, that'll work. So if you're listening, you got the skills. Look into it.
I think those German guys can do it.
Oh, they can do it. This company, in fact, right here, has a 62 Impala one.
Oh, yeah.
Other GM vehicles, but he doesn't have 58 Impala one. And that 58 Impala is only designed by, or not designed, but only offered, unless you get it from Mad About Cars, but it's only offered by Classic Metal Works. So there's only one company that makes that in, our scale that's not a 3D print. And since that company doesn't really make that car anymore, it's just a rare car, and I want it to look right. So whoever's out there that knows how to do it, much appreciated.
Well, there's some people you can pay, but I price that out too.
I don't mind paying to buy the decal. I just don't want to pay for them to design the decal.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them won't. Like, I inquired about these that you can print with a white background, so you can stick it on any color car.
Oh,
and it was like $80 for a design. I'm like, I already have the design. Like, I'll send you the file ready to print, but they still wanted their cut on that plus the $40 per sheet. Which if I could just get the $40 per sheet, that wouldn't be horrible. But I'm not paying $120 for a sheet.
No, I know how they do that too. I talked to some people about that. I know how it's done, but you had to have a printer that could do it.
Yeah. And those are high priced printers. I know they gotta pay for their equipment, so
yeah, it's definitely not cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, all my cars, I'll even show you something dark I put decals on. Hold on. All right, so there's one of your decal patterns on this dark blue car. It's not like super, God dang it.
Standing by for Sam to join back.
All right, it's recording again. Sorry about that, everybody. Difficulties, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right, let me turn it. Okay, this is a 58 Chevy wagon, and you can barely see the decals that were printed because it's such a dark blue. But like the roof, you can see better. But on the side, you can see there's some sort of pattern graphic going on there, but it's so dark you can barely see it. So it's like a hint of the design, and even on the tailgate. And then, so that's the problem with putting decals from clear decal paper on a dark print or on a dark paint, is you could see the print of the decal, but it's not nearly as bright or as vibrant as it would be with a light, like silver or white paint job. Anyways, that's the difference from a dark paint to a light paint.
Right. I wish I had the capability of doing those other kind, just because you're limited.
Right. Oh, another thing, like if you see that trim That's that 1 millimeter tape. Can you still hear me? There's an echo on my end. Can you hear me? Nope, your audio disappeared. Man, the end of this video, we're having some major difficulties. This is wild. So your video's gone and your audio's gone. I don't know what we did. I started it. I started this confusion. You back? I see your video. I hear your audio.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my earphone. Maybe this battery's dead.
I don't know. It goes to show that the later we're still on here talking for it, that's when stuff wants to screw up. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's like 11:30 over here. I know it's 10:30 over there. Want to talk about anything else?
We can save it for the next round. Maybe I'll have more stuff finished
For the next time. That'd be cool.
Maybe a module with a car lot.
Right. Maybe you just build the car lot for me and then I'll go to RPM and stick all my cars on it.
Precious space in the car.
I know. Well, man, thanks for helping me fix this. And thanks for wanting to be on here again.
Sure.
Cool talking
yeah,
to you.
anytime. Let me know.
I enjoy talking to you. I don't think they'll be bored because I mean we're all talking about modeling, cars, buildings, dioramas, structures, scenes. It's all relatable to everything we already do. So if they're bored, then that's on them because I don't see how they're bored. I wouldn't.
Right.
I wasn't bored the whole time we were talking. I mean, I did fall asleep about 4 times, but you wouldn't tell. That's how good I am. Right on, man. Hey, well, I'm going to have Joseph's Facebook page linked in the description. That way you can get a hold of him through Messenger. If you got any questions, if you got any building ideas, or if you want him to build you something or just buy something from him. And I also have his eBay page linked below. So if he has something up there that you may want to bid on or you might want to buy, you'd have a chance to do that there too. And then, yeah, I don't know. How about that, Joseph? Was that good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right, everybody.
A percent commission.
Yeah, cool. I like that idea. Well, stay on, and I'll end this recording, and we'll say our goodbye.
All
so, everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave a comment if you enjoyed it, if you had any questions or whatever. Until the next episode, see you next time. All right, so that was Joseph Blevins talking about his 3D printing and his model cars that he's printed and built. Pretty cool guy, really cool guy. And like I said at the end of the podcast, I said I have his information linked below in the description. So if you guys want to get a hold of him, you want to buy something from him, just hit him up because he's really cool to deal with. He's a really nice guy. And he can even build you something custom if you want. Most likely, you want a certain kind of building, hit him up. He'll look it up and figure out if he can build it and let you know. So once again, I hope you guys like it. Like, subscribe, and comment if you like. Also, if you choose to even look into it, if you care that much, there will be my Patreon. That's down there in the description below. That'll help this channel grow. And get better equipment. Until the next episode, you guys stay classy out there.